Hi everyone, my name is Lauren and this is the Reading Diversely tag. This tag was originally created by the Library at the Edge of the World and I was tagged to do this video by the lovely Jen Campbell, and I'll leave a link to both of their videos below. I was really happy when Jen tagged me to do this video, one because I had no idea what I was going to film this weekend at all, so she just made my life a whole lot easier, and two, I just think this is a great tag and I'm really pleased to see it doing the rounds on the booktube, and I think it's a really good idea and it's important that we read diversely, so I'm really pleased to be getting involved myself. The original idea for this video was that you choose one book which is your favourite and one book that you're excited to read from each continent. I was looking in my bookshelf this morning trying to work out which books I would choose, and I was shocked by just how UK and North American centric my reading is. Like, I was really shocked. I thought, oh, I read diversely, this is going to be great, I can introduce people to all these different authors, and I don't know what I was on, because I don't read diversely at all. So I'm really pleased that I've been prompted to think that by this video, because I was actually quite shocked at myself and disappointed about how ignorant, or not ignorant, but just how narrow my reading really is. So I don't actually own enough books to do this tag properly, but I still wanted to film this video and I still wanted to do it because I feel like the very fact that I don't read as diversely as I thought, it means that I'm the person that this video was created for. Like, I should really be thinking about the authors that I'm choosing to read. Also, it'd be great to hear any recommendations that you guys have for authors who are not English speaking, translated fiction, anything. Just help me out, help me. I need to focus on this year, I think. So what I'm going to do instead is sort of my own twist on it, and I'm going to show you books from authors outside the traditionally English-speaking countries that I have read, and try and do one from each continent. Pretty much one from each continent is the sum of the books I've owned. So not much thought has gone into this video because I've chosen the ones that I've had to choose. But I'm just going to go through it anyway. I hope this is interesting. I mean, I think I'm getting more out of this than anyone viewing it, because it's making me realise what I read. So I'm going to start from the east and work my way west with these books, and I'll start with the only book that I haven't read yet, and that is Sputnik, Sweetheart by Haruki Murakami. It's a bit of a cop-out really, because it's not like he's unheard of. Lots of people have read him. I'm probably one of the only people who hasn't read any Murakami yet. This is my pick for Japan. Then moving across to India, we have The White Tiger by Aravind Adiga. I read this book about literally like 5 years ago. I can't really remember too much about it, other than it is about a guy's struggle against poverty in India, working his way up to become an entrepreneur who is called the White Tiger. And at the time I do remember thinking it was a really interesting story of the class struggle in modern India and how people define themselves within it. And it was I think it was good. I mean, it won the Man Booker Prize apparently. So this is the only one that I have from India, so you know. My next pick is The Silence and the Roar by Nihad Saris, who is a Syrian writer. I read this a lot more recently, so I can remember about this. This isn't very plot driven, this book, but it is about dictatorship and how the populace is controlled and brainwashed, and it's really interesting story of being a writer, or being a liberal I suppose, inside a very censorship heavy state. This was translated from Arabic originally, and it's published by Pushkin Press, which is an absolutely beautiful copy, and they do a lot of translated fiction, so I'm gonna have to expand my purchases of their books, I think, after this video. My next book's a bit of a cheap book because it is a classic, but I've picked Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy for Russia, because Russia's, you know, it's kind of a continent of its own, I think. And I think this is a really interesting one. I mean, I know it's not really pushing the boat out by picking Tolstoy, but I tried reading War and Peace recently, and it was okay. I mean, I just couldn't get into it because I'm not very good at like understanding war. So the war part of the book, I just like, oh, I don't understand about battles. Like, this is all too much, and I gave up on it, I'm ashamed to say. But Anna Karenina, I really enjoyed it. I found it a lot easier to read. I admit I was a bit worried about reading it. I thought it was going to be really hard, and it's not hard at all. I loved it. It's a very slow book, and I feel the characters are really complex, and you really get to know them. Like, by the end of it, I genuinely felt like they were my friends. That's probably because I don't have any friends in real life. So then for like Europe proper, I suppose, like if we're excluding Russia from Europe, I have picked The Days of Abandonment by Elena Ferrante, who is an Italian author. I absolutely love this book. This was published by Europa Editions, who tend to take very popular European books and translate them into English and sell them in English-speaking countries, and I'm so pleased that I picked this up. It is wonderful. It is about a middle-aged woman whose husband leaves her and the sort of mini breakdown, mini crisis she has in coming to terms with that, and it's a really interesting look at male and female roles in society, especially a slightly perhaps more traditional society in Italy than I've experienced in the UK. The next place I want to go down to is Africa, and it's this continent that I am most ashamed to say that I have only read one author, and that is Chimamanda Ngozie Adichie. At least for some of the other books where they're being translated fiction, even though it's from Europe, it's translated, I feel a bit like I've got an extra point for it being translated because for branching out. But I mean, Adichie writes in English, and I've read all of her books, but I've not really read any other African authors, so I would love some recommendations for African authors if you've got any. To make amends for being completely unoriginal in my author choice, I've picked a book which isn't Americana or Half of Yellow Sun. I've picked The Thing Around Your Neck, which is a collection of her short stories. I would recommend kind of anything by Adichie really, because I really love her writing, but I do think if you are new to her, this is a wonderful collection of short stories, and it really gives you an idea of of her themes and what she's writing about, and it gives you a very good introduction to her writing. The stories tend to centre around certain periods in Nigerian history, or about coming to America as an immigrant, about the way African culture has kind of been lost in history in the name of civilization and religion from a Western perspective. The way African culture is treated is a very, very interesting collection, and what's really great about it, in my opinion, is that the stories don't become repetitive, even though there's a thread through all of it. You can see that they're linked, but at the same time they're not linked. They're all written very differently, and I do really like it. But you know, that's coming from a really, I mean, ashamed to say ignorant perspective, because I don't know very much about African culture, and this book and this tag video has just really made me realise it, so I definitely need to branch out in that respect. And then my final book that I have to show you today is my South American choice, and that is 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Again, pretty unoriginal choice, but I mean, this is the only one I had in my house that I could show you. I didn't like this book when I read it first because I just don't think I really got it, and then when I looked it up afterwards, I kind of researched it a little bit, and I realised how much of an allegory it was for Colombian history, and then I felt even more stupid because I don't know anything about Colombian history, but I did appreciate the book itself a lot more after researching it. So I would recommend this one. I did enjoy reading it, I think in retrospective more than I did at the time, but it has made me want to try some more of his work as well. So there we go. Guess the only books I have, really, which are not British, American, Canadian, Australian. Not coming off too well in this video, am I, really, as a diverse reader? I am going to tag some people because, you know, I love this tag and I want to know more from other people that probably have much more interesting things to say than I do about it, and I'm going to tag Jean from Jean's Bookish Thoughts, I'm going to tag Leanne from Books and Babble, and I am going to tag Karenina E as well. I'll link all their channels below as well so you can go check them out. I really like those guys. And I tag you, I tag everyone to do this tag. I think this is fantastic. We should all be reading more diversely, especially me. I'd love to hear from you in the comments, and I will see you in my next video, which will be a lot more prepared, I'm sure. Bye!